Another week of UnFck My Startup. Adam Robinson and Pete Crowley here. We're your co-hosts. John Ely is our producer helping us in the background. We have what I think is our most exciting, timely, and relevant guest that we've ever had. He isn't quite here yet, but we believe he's going to be because he responded to an email 5 minutes ago. But we have a guy who has done the impossible, who has done what every single person logging into this show dreams of doing. Actually, it's probably even beyond a dream, I would say.
Definitely.
To
Definitely.
to start a startup as a founder and to get acquired for $80 million cash 6 months after you write your first line of code. It's what this guy did.
I thought when I was reading like the summary for this show, because we have a little calendar on the back end that we log all of our guests. I saw the 80 million in cash after 6 months. I was like, well, surely that's a typo. There's either a 3 or a 2 or even aggressively a 1 next to that 6 in terms of months to exit. But I validated with some other press releases and podcasts that Maor's been on, and yeah, 80 million in cash in 6 months is probably going to be the most intriguing story. It's almost like I don't want to say the lottery because there's a lot of skill involved, but like that is like change your life in 6 months is just
Yeah, and we got 204 guests at 103, which is pretty good, or 203 Central, 103. I'm in the mountains now. I'm in Aspen. For the next 6 episodes, I'm coming at you from Aspen, Colorado. Uh, for the audience, can you guess the type of company that Maor created? What what was the general subject matter that Maor was building in? AI.
yeah, both answers
Yeah, yeah,
code gen. Yeah.
yeah. Huey just stole it with the response. It's no surprise that the man who gets acquired for 80 million in cash 6 months after starting is building an AI.
AI app,
Code
an
Gen
AI
AI
for
development,
AI.
Cursor for X. I mean, yeah, all of those are incredible. Hey team, I'm on the call. Are you joining?
I'm
That's what
responding
we
right
are.
now, Adam. I got you.
Yeah, okay, sweet. So he's coming. In the meantime, let's do the pitch slap while we're waiting. Ruben K just raised his hand. So reminder of the pitch slap and what we're doing here. You are going to come up on stage, pitch the 225 and rising, 227 guests in the audience. We are going to run a poll after your pitch. Above 66%, you're going to get a swag box. Above 33%, you're going to get a swag item. Below 33%, it would buy. You're going to get sent home with a wave. And if you are interested in pitching this audience of founders, marketers, and go-to-market leaders, please raise your hand. I think we have one raised hand. Is that right?
Oh, we have today's guest already locked in. We have
Oh, we
we
do.
have yes, we have Lev from default.com who's going to come up and pitch default. But audience, if you would like to pitch, email producer@rbdb.com. I just spammed it in the chat 3 times in a row. Email producer@rbdb.com. We would love to have you on. The way I choose, because we usually get about a dozen emails every show. The way I choose is based on if I like how well of a fit I think that ICP, and the target audience of that customer is for our audience, just to make it most impactful for the people joining. So if you're targeting construction contractors, unfortunately not going to pick you. I wish you the best of luck, but you're just not going to get a lot out of this. So we have Lev coming right up. I believe he's here.
He's
And
here. He's on. I'm looking at him.
he's on. Oh, I
Lev,
got
you're muted, by the way.
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me. I actually applied for the last pitch slap with hockey stack conversation. So for all of those listeners out there, they do read the emails and you might make the cut. But thanks for having me. I am the founding BDR here at Default. So if there's anyone to give you a pitch slap today, I'm the guy for it. But what's Default? Default is a GTM workflow automation platform purpose-built for lead ingestion, enrichment, and routing. So we're basically a modern take on some of the routing and scheduling products out there. We're pretty much source agnostic. So whether it's a product sign up, form fill, event lead, we package those leads up real nice, waterfall, enrich them, and then run them through a routing sequence of your liking to get them to the right rep. We also offer like a lot of CRM workflows. Like you might be running a Zapier, so throw those away. Throw your Calendly's away, but we can really make some cool consolidation and enrichment plays happen in the background that will make your rev ops and your sales leaders get a couple more hours on the weekend there. So yeah, happy to answer any questions. Like I said, I'm the BDR here, so what I'm looking for is meetings. But I appreciate you guys listening.
Okay, I have a couple questions. How big do you have to be to use your product?
Any time that a company hires their second sales rep and there needs to be a routing decision based on a territory or a segment, employee count, default has a place in that team.
Rock on. And how's it priced?
That's a great conversation for one of my senior colleagues, but no, it's priced on a seat basis. So there's a platform fee, and then with every additional user that's being routed leads, there's a user seat.
Rock and roll. Well, we got a 1/3, 2/3. Unfortunately, it's 2/3 in the wrong direction, but you got a swag item because you're 33 and above. So we'll see
Nice.
that. Audience, please, if you want a demo from Lev, type demo into the webinar chat. I know there was some early interest. There were a lot of yeses right out of the gates. Does anybody want a demo? Hit demo if so.
There we go. Christo says demo. Chris says demo. We got 2 so far. The record, by the way, Lev, is about 25.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
you got 3
demos for you, Lev.
Anybody
else? Anybody else wants a demo about for a demo, just a chat GPT to build it for you?
Are we? Is that where we're getting? I mean, we have the man to answer that question in just a minute here. So
We do.
Lev, do us a favor, drop in your and yourself a favor, drop in your calendar link right into the chat here.
Absolutely. We'll do, Jets.
Directly with you. Thank you for joining, my friend. Thank you for pitching. We love your hat. Very
Lev, thanks for coming up. I mean, I hope it was worth this while for 5 demos. There's a 5th demo there.
I think for 2 minutes, I think any BDR would take that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maor, what's up, man? Thanks for joining us. Sorry for the initial confusion on entry, but you dropped into our first segment, which is the pitch slap. So he pitched, 33% of people said they buy. He gets a t-shirt. Now we move to how the fuck you just got paid $80 million for 6 months of work.
Yeah, Maor, I thought it was a typo when I saw the initial summary of the show. I was like, there's no way. That's supposed to say 26, maybe 36 months. And then I went to other podcasts and stuff to validate the story because I was like, oh my gosh. So first of all, welcome to the show. We're very happy to have you. I love the sort of ancient weaponry behind you. It's very nice background.
Yeah, what is that? Is that a samurai? What are those 2 things?
Japanese sword. I'm actually not in my place, but yeah, it's actually an ancient one and a cool one. It's a katana, like a samurai thing.
Yeah, rad. Then the thing on the bottom is more ancient than that.
I don't really know. It looks like that.
Yeah,
I think the top one. I think the top one is the impressive thing. Yeah, I think it's
Drago says it's a kendo bamboo sword. So
this is why it's helpful to have a live audience. It can tell you things about yourself that you don't know.
All right. Enough dicking around. Let's get
by the way, live audience, please keep the questions coming. We know we know what we want to ask Maor, but please ask questions and they will get answered. Yeah. Hey Maor, can I borrow a few million? Great first question.
Send me your bank account and I'll
so usually, Maor, we have a good, I don't mean to toot our own horn here, but we have a pretty great run of guests that usually come on this show. And usually the time frame that we're talking about for their journey is not long enough to start at day 1. But for you, my friend, I think that's the perfect place to start. I'm super curious about, you had a very lean development team. I guess to start, what was first for the audience? What was the specific problem Base 44 solves, and how did you so quickly validate that idea?
Yeah, it's an idea that's been running in my head for a while now. which is like as a software founder, as a software entrepreneur, I think there's no coolest thing you can build but building a software that builds software. I think obviously that the pain is helping non-technical people bring their ideas to life, whether it's tools, websites, entire SaaS products that they want to build and they want to start like their own business, games and so on. So the idea is you type in an idea, you type in a prompt, you type in a whatever, a product, like whatever you want to build. And then Base 44 basically helps you build the software. We're not the first ones doing that, and not even the second ones. And it's a very crowded market, which I think Base 44 takes a very different approach than the rest of the folks, a very opinionated one, which is very less technical, which means our users like to call it batteries included, which means that when you build an app in Base 44, you already get everything you need to build the app already built in. So like database, integrations, analytics, user management, authentications, all of those things where all of the other tools out there you usually like need to stitch together multiple services and integrate different service providers and like to integrate like backend services and integrate APIs and integrate email sending platforms and all those things. Where Base 44 was built from the ground up to deliver on an experience where you have everything you need built in. So you can just get going, which resonated a lot with the non-technical people out there that were looking to finally, after years, kind of like having ideas in their head, just bring it to life.
That's awesome because I use V0 for this kind of stuff, which is another another competitor. I There was a little bit of a learning curve for me. I'm not a developer. I know like very rudimentary like HTML and like R, right? Like super rudimentary. I'm a sales and marketing guy. And just kind of the onboard, like the self onboarding process was a little complicated. And
Yeah.
then like my challenge now is plugging in those integrations and troubleshooting them and using the bot to troubleshoot. So I totally get where that
Yeah.
comes in.
And Veil Zero is a fantastic product, by the way. I think this market will go into a place where everyone will pick a spot. And I think yeah, Veil Zero is I think today is slightly more resonating with the technical folks and the folks that know how to stitch together those different services that you need. But yeah, that's our sweet spot is the more functional, complex products that you want to build without knowing or without like needing to understand what an API is or what a backend is and so on.
And can I ask like a really nuanced question? So when you say a non-technical person, is this someone who's truly never been an engineer, like never like me, for example, right? Like in like 2012, I may have done Code Academy, and I may be able to like look at JavaScript and sort of know what's going on, but beyond that, nothing, right? It's all product and marketing that I am focused on. Was I your original ICP, or was it somebody slightly more like Rob, who works for us, used to be engineer. He's not an engineer anymore. And he's like doing really cool shit with Finn,
Yeah.
but it's because he was an engineer, you know? So
Yeah,
who,
absolutely. And I'll go even like further than this and I'll say like lawyers, architects, like
right.
folks like that.
Yeah.
Those are the folks that really like that's our sweet spot.
And
Uh,
so you think you're farther in that direction than the rest of the space in terms
yeah,
of like me
I
and
think they're all
yours.
like yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I think right now you have, if I'm like, I always like to look at it like if you put an axis and you say, okay, on this side you have the Cursors and the Windsurfs of the world, fantastic products targeted more to either developers or semi-developers, right? Folks who understand like, okay, if I want to build a web app that uses, let's say, OpenAI GPT to do something, like, okay, I need to go to OpenAI, register an account, take an API key, bring it back, and then connect it. So you don't really need to know how to code, but you need to understand kind of like what software looks like, and you need to understand that the behinds of it and so on. And Base 44 takes a very, again, opinionated approach, take it to the far end of like, hey, you want to build a functional product? Let me help you do that without needing to care about anything. Like you want need to go out, you want to build an app that does like that has an LLM that searches the web, brings you leads, sends you emails, and so on. Like you'll be able to do this entire thing end to end inside Base 44. without needing to go out or stitch together different services.
I mean, that sounds sick.
Yeah, we have a few questions in the chat. Should I cancel
I
Lovable?
think Wix might agree with me.
I want to chat about your I mean, it was just you, correct? Like starting this out, I think you hired your first employee, if I'm reading correctly into the story, like a month before you sold. Is all of that true? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We'll dive further into that, but I'm curious from when you started, how'd you get your initial customers? And like how long did it take you to get, let's say, your first 10 customers?
Yeah. Um, I'll put a disclaimer beforehand, which is like I've been an enterprise guy. My previous company was doing very like hardcore enterprise top-down sales, so I have some learnings. It's been so things have been so crazy that I'm not sure 100% of the learnings are actually correct, but like I'll try to put in like the learnings and the things that I've done to go from 10 to 100 to 1,000 and so on. First, then is like you put out there like a very sorry for the language, right? You put out there a shitty product and you put out there a bad product, and you want to get users to, and the best way to like improve your product fast is just have people use that. I had three of some of my best friends, or really good people, like people that I know that like they have some reason to use my product, even though it sucked back then. And so find the first three that you know that it's like the right timing for them. They'll use your product, they'll bring you feedback. For me, it was like just to give you an example, one of my best friends, literally like the week I started Base 44, he left his job. He was a restaurant manager. And I was like, you know what? I'm building this cool thing. You have a lot of insight on the restaurant industry. How about you build a SaaS product on top of what I'm doing? Like it might be a good business. Long story short, by the way, very successful, local, very niche SaaS product. Um, but then like I got the first couple of users like people that I knew. And I think Base 44 was in a nice situation where it kind of like it could resonate with plenty like types of people, right? If I was building a product for say accountants, then I'll need to go out and find like a couple of accountants that I know that will have a reason to actually use my product day to day when it started. Um, I was working with the first three and then 10, which were mostly people I know, reaching out to people I know and saying, hey, I'm building this cool new thing. How about you help me out? Like, I promise, like, I'll give you like the personal, whatever you need, like I'll give you the support and so on. We were actually in the first couple of weeks, we were meeting in my place where I would like put a version out, see how they use it, and they say, oh, it's stuck here. It doesn't understand me when I'm trying to implement this feature or build this type of app, and then I'll see what they do, and then I'll change the code really fast, and then push another version and see kind of like how it works right now. And that's how I work with like the first 10 users. All of them people I know, all of them's like either personal favors or being very, very nice and very kind of like very approachable and trying to get them to use the product. And I'd iterate fast. And in that point, I think in my mind, it was don't yet invest in marketing. Don't yet invest in like go to market. Wait until you understand that your product is in a good enough place. It doesn't have to be perfect. It won't be, but in a good enough place that it's not churning users, but it's actually bringing some new users. So I had this like idea in my mind that I need to get to a place where if I leave 10 users in a room using my product and I leave and I come back in a month, there will be 11. Like that in some point it's slightly viral or the product is good enough so that people start telling other folks about it. And it could be in very low percentages, but at least you want to be in a place where it's not a revolving door. Right? It's not like you bring in 10 people, after 2 weeks you have two people, and after like 4 weeks you have nobody. Um, yeah, so I iterated with those first three, then 10. Then I started noticing that the first couple of users that I have no idea existed or I'm not familiar with, and like, hey, it's a friend that told me, yeah, you know, but I heard it from your friend, and like I started using it, and it's really cool, and so on. And that's why I said, okay, now it's time to hit the gas and try to figure out what's my scaling strategy to get to the next 100 or 1,000.
I think there's something really beautiful about the philosophy of like a great, like work on a great product. Before I switched over to business, I was studying music in college, and we had a guest speaker, and somebody asked them, what's the best way to promote my songs? Like, what's the best thing that's going to promote them? And he said, a good song. Like a good song, people are going to listen to it over and over. They'll share it with their friends. That's just how these things work. I want to share my screen because I think there's something you did incredibly well, and I'm curious how much this helped your growth. And you're smiling because I bet you know what I'm going to ask. But this is like this I think is the best example of immediately getting people to start using your app. Okay, so you're doing text input to code output, right? Basically build apps, by talking to a bot. You have the bot right here. Not only that, you have recommendations. So I'm going to hit this onboarding portal one. It enters in a nice description. I'm going to hit go. It's going to prompt me. So I had done this before. It prompted me to just connect with Google. It was a simple, your regular sign in with Google, and then it immediately starts creating the app. So even if I didn't have an idea, you gave me the idea of like, well, here's some interesting things you might want to try. And now it's literally coding it for me. And this took, I mean, we're talking less than 20 seconds for me to be trying the product. And it's something that's so impactful. I mean, there's a lot of people,
Can you just leave that up while you're finishing your thought? Because I want to see.
Yes.
There's something so magical about yeah, just leave it up. There's something so magical about like actually seeing a dashboard that you just thought of 2 minutes ago or whatever, however long it takes. So yeah, finish your thought.
It's unbelievable. And yeah, once you see, I mean, the wow factor, especially if somebody hasn't done text to code, maybe they've heard about it. It's like when we all started using Chat GPT, I think it was fall of 2022, if I have in the timeline correct. Like your first question and then the output you get, no matter what the question was basically amazing. Like everyone was like, it was like it was like truly like genie in a bottle type stuff. And this is just the next iteration of that for especially for apps. I mean, anybody who's, if you're just a non-technical person, everybody's had ideas of applications and functionality they've wanted to build, right? Like the ideas are in our head. We just don't have the technical prowess to actually make it live code. And this is like, it solves that gap so freaking well, so quickly. And I mean, in a matter of, I started this 2 minutes ago. It's already done all of these. It's already done all of these things.
Yeah,
I'm going to leave
we're
it up
about
here.
to get the main event here.
I think also this was a learning because one of the things that I didn't know starting on, and one of the things that really helped is trying to push users as fast as possible to the aha moment. All right. So like for me, the aha moment for base 44 is like the first time you see the app. And you pick like what was your prompt? Go up a bit. So yeah, so
I
it
did
will
an
be
onboarding one. Yeah.
So it's like an onboarding portal. So it will take another minute or two to kind of like build all the different pages and all the different apps because it's like it want to build something that's like for real use. But then you have this trade-off of how much do I want to get the user to like really quickly get the aha moment versus what's right from a product standpoint. Right. So I'll give an example. So at first there's like this thing where sometimes users are not like what the way they prompt are not as um I don't know how to say that. Like they're not like the prompt might not represent what they really want to do. Right. So at first I had this stage that now is removed because of conversion, because of like getting people to get fast to the aha moment, where I'd show them first a diagram of how their app is going to look like, and then they approved it, and then only then it will start coding. Like they will go through multiple stages till they get to this aha moment. Where at some point there was like this trade-off where I said, okay, I need to get them as fast as possible, even if I'm making some product compromises or things that I later on need to handle is like help them later on make their app more similar to what they wanted to do. So yeah, we worked a lot on this flow of like getting people just to a website, type in, have a very quick kind of like sign in or very kind of like low friction thing, and start building your app very fast. So yeah, that's pretty much about it.
I
And
think
can I ask a question about like just sort of how you were thinking about doing that? So in this example of this prompt, design an
Mm-hmm.
onboarding portal that guides new employees through the, values, vision, whatever documentation. So it's like, where is it getting that from? Is it like you know what I mean? Is it like AI is just looking for sort of like state of the art websites that are that, and it's kind of creating this spin, or like, like how is that happening?
So I think the process of building on top of LLMs is unlike anything I've known before. And I'll give you kind of like the secret sauce that really helped me. And here it
Ooh,
is, just it's inserting some of the sample records, and it will show up in a bit, which is like you build the first version of product. So imagine kind of like the first version of Base 44.
yeah.
And then like you type in something, it builds some sort of a product. The product is not like the app that it built is not so great. Um, Here we go. Now you have the entire onboarding platform. You have multiple pages. You have, by the way, you have backend connected inside. I think there's some AI features that it came up with. So like you can explore it, but it's a whole fully working kind of like fully.
That is
Um,
unbelievable.
yeah.
That is
Um,
incredible.
so
And
the way
continue.
Yeah, and obviously, like there's some things that you want to improve and iterate, so you can prompt it and change it. But the key idea is like have the first, and that's also how I kind of like fought competition. Like have the first prompt generate a fully functioning, kind of like if you go up a bit. I haven't seen the so go for example for the
Uh,
setup, yeah, on the right.
oh, up here.
No, the like inside the app.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Sorry.
perfect. So I think if you'll change something and you'll save it here, even in the setup or your profile information, like it will be saved in the database. So the idea is like try to get to a aha moment that's like have that the user have a fully functioning app. Um, and the way, Adam, to your question is like the way you do that is through, which is funny. It's not the usual kind of like it's not the usual development process. So you try something like you build a first version, and then base 44 codes an app, and the app looks bad, and the functionality is not great, and so on. So you iterate on the app, and you make it better and better and better, and then you take this great version of an app and you put it as an example inside the prompt for the AI. And then you tell the AI to do it all over again. Now build me the same app. And so now that it has the example and knows kind of like, it kind of like speaks the language of app building, and it knows what types of functionality you expect. And you have this example injected in your prompt without the user even knowing. So now it builds like the second version of the app. And then you iterated on it a bit further, and you improve the app. So like you keep improving, so on and so on, and then you put it back in the examples. And I think what worked really well for me is just giving really good examples and injecting really good just code examples and applications and repositories, so that now when a user asks for something, even if it's a simple ask, like even if it was just like if you read them down just two words, onboarding portal, the AI knows that it needs to build a fully functioning app. It has examples of great applications that it can draw inspiration from, and then just build it fully like end to end.
And correct me if I'm wrong, that's creating this type of compounding effect, right? Like it's just like somebody asks for something different and then you do it for that. And then now you have, instead of 5 major categories, there's 6, and pretty soon you have 60, and pretty soon you
Yeah.
don't need more than 60. It's, you know what I mean? Like at some point you've kind of like done what needs to be done in terms of that is really cool. That's something that's very exciting about AI, in my opinion, as someone who doesn't build, but like definitely am a product person. Um, so did you notice, this is my question, because something interesting happened to us with Finn like I think it was 4 weekends ago. Finn was resolving 50% of chats successfully, customer declared. Then over the weekend, it jumped to 75. And this morning it's at 90. So like the models are improving, which makes stuff that you build for these models yield
Yeah.
this constantly improving output as the models improve. So did you
Yeah.
notice that over the time that you were doing this, that like you're doing all of this work for LLMs, then as LLMs get better, your thing is also getting better as a result of that?
Yeah. Yeah, a lot. And it's kind of like I think the product work these days is very different because I call it like building on the trend, right? So you build a product that you know that even if you don't change anything in the code, in 2 months it's going to be way better. Why? Because models are going to like there's going to be the next version of Claude or GPT or Gemini or whatever, and then the minute there's like the next version, like your product instantly becomes way better. All right, I built the first version of Base 44 sucked, like it didn't do a lot, and then Claude 3.5 came out, like the Anthropic model, and then overnight it became like really good. And I think it's also kind of like putting you in front of questions and a different way of thinking about product because there's some like okay, so you get into this, like you start getting traffic and you start getting users and you start getting customers, so it becomes very visible to you like all the problems you have in the product because people start using it. And then you also have to decide like what you're going to solve by yourself, like what I'm going to like get into that, solve, build the right features and do that, versus what I'm going to just leave. I know it's a problem, but it's going to get solved with the next model version of like better examples that they put out, like this flywheel of a model that's constantly learning. And I think I'm still trying to adjust to like the thinking of like what features should I build versus what features are going to build themselves and what features are going to kind of like just what problems are going to get solved with the next iterations of models. And it's a really like it's a really different way of like building product these days versus where it was a few years ago.
But it's like, this is the way of the future. Like
Yeah.
I just feel it. I had this religious transformation happen like a couple months ago, and now every word you're saying, I'm like, yes, yes, yes. Everything I'm trying to build is that, right? Whereas before it was I just hadn't undergone that shift in the way of
Yeah.
thinking, you know? But
And
yeah,
And I think you also like you really want to position your product in that like in the first lane of, hey, my product's going to get better either way if it's like model dependent or it builds a lot. And people used to call those products like GPT wrappers, but now we understand like that those are like that's how products are going to be built in the future. There's going to be like a lot of AI features implemented, and if you build it on this trend, like you get a lot of benefits, really a lot of
yeah.
benefits.
Just to future sell a show coming up in September, we're actually going to have somebody come on, Jesse Willette, who's the founder of Lead Magic. He's done a ton of this type of work. He's actually going to create an app, a pretty complex app right here on the show, and then guide us through it and do edits. So we'll start in the beginning. So just for folks listening, we're actually going to bring this into practice.
Let's say the name of the app he's going to build because it's hilarious. Jesse hates user gems. He just hates that user gems starts at $50,000 for job change. He thinks it's so dumb. So he's like, I'm going to come on your show and build user gems in under 1 hour and it'll function perfectly.
By the way, user gems, well, I don't want to give them away. They did apply to be I think they're going to come on next week to pitch. Maybe I should have them pitch during Jesse. We love to stir the pot here, folks. That's the goal. Right before we get to the UnFck My Startup section, I just want to summarize something that I think is super, super important for your growth. So, Maor, I mean, I think this is the greatest growth story I've ever heard, from start to finish. I think the product's crazy impactful. We talk all the time about magic moments in here. That was a big part of our B2B too, was getting people to, from the time they landed on our website to the time they resolved their first, de-anonymized profile from their website visitors. We wanted to shrink that amount of time.
Yeah.
To get them that aha moment.
There were all sorts of problems after that and still are, but
yes,
we fucking nailed that one. That is for sure. And there was tremendous virality in that moment also because it was so magical.
And like, I think your whole, like the way your website, just your marketing website is set up to deliver that magic moment in like minutes. Well, and literally for that, the processing to be happening within less than a minute. And then the output to be so magical. Like a week ago, I look at your story, I'm like, that's unbelievable. And then the more I dug into base 44, I'm like, well, obviously these are the guys who had the craziest growth story and exit story. It's like an insane magic moment and the quickest way to get there. And that's really like, I think at the heart of marketing, like all of your other activities that are geared towards raising awareness and getting people's attention, inevitably, if you're going to convert those people and create virality, it's all about speed to magic moment and the actual impact of that magic moment. And I just think that is so beautifully done here. I think everybody should look this as like the gold standard of magic moments.
That landing page is sick, and you're right about the magic moment, and that's like an old school concept. But I also love how like well this new way of building product was articulated in the first 30 minutes of the show. Because like, if you ask me, it's like, why is Clay crushing it? Fundamentally, it is this thing that ties together a bunch of AIs and enrichment data. And as the AI gets better, Clay gets better. Right. So like they keep adding data sources and the models keep improving. And there's several other reasons why, but like at its core, that product gets better as the AI gets better. And the things it can do today is so much more incredible than what it could do a year ago. A lot of that is the team's talented. They're building really cool shit. A lot of it is the models underlying the creative are getting
I absolutely
better,
agree. I think Clay, like even like when I've known Clay, my previous company was in the go-to-market space, still is, by the way. And I think I remember when Clay came out with like so they have like I don't know how it's called, like different steps or columns and whatever. I remember where they came up with like the GPT column, like the AI column, and then suddenly all of the data they've added is suddenly so powerful because the models keep getting powerful, and then you can process kind of like the data through those models. So yeah, I agree. Building on a trend has really been, I've been lucky to kind of like to do that. I think it's a bet worth to be made nowadays when you're building new products.
Pete, do you think we should skip Unfuck My Startup and just keep asking questions? Because
I think
audience, do you think we should just keep asking Maor questions, or do you want to do an Unfuck My Startup? Let's just while we're getting responses,
yes. Okay.
I want to ask a question that came across from the audience that I think is probably one of the biggest questions, and it's something that I'm always thinking about when I start a business. So when you started as a solo founder, did you have your eye on Wix as the acquirer for this?
No, not really.
That is
Um,
interesting.
yeah, I think this is like, I hated when founders used to say that because it's like it's so annoying, but I think the best way to being acquired is like not trying to be acquired. It's like,
Yeah.
and I hated this. It's like it's such an annoying thing to say, but it's like if you build a good business, then you have that you're happy with and you enjoy building. And I don't. We should speak about that soon because I love so much of like the things you write out there about bootstrapping and so on. It's been such a great inspiration, and obviously my path also
Cheers,
built.
man. I mean,
Yeah,
that really warms my heart, seriously.
yeah. But yeah, no, I didn't know. I knew that like that's it's in a very sexy space that some bigger company, like if the velocity is high and we're able to move fast, it might be interesting for other folks. But I don't think also acquisition was like saying, hey, yeah, I should do like this very quick turnaround. Still, and again, it sounds like a cliche, but trust me too, I'm still very excited about Base 44's kind of like future. It's still day one for us. I think part of the actual decision to get acquired is saying, let's play in the big league, let's bring in the big guns, because I feel like we have a great product and we have a chance to build something global and something that's like could really move the needle for a lot of folks and businesses. So no, I didn't plan this out. Kind of like I didn't have like a 6-month plan. Hey, I'm gonna get acquired at the end of it.
We have a good question from Sam in here. I'm going to start ripping through audience questions just because there's so many good ones in here. And I'm curious myself. Sam says, even though what you did in 6 months is crazy, is there any one thing you wish you started sooner? Was there a real dial mover that accelerated growth?
Yeah. Okay. Adam, you're gonna like that. So my previous company was very capital heavy in the go-to-market space, still is. Explorium does like data enrichment and so on. And so I've known RB2B and the content that you guys put out there, and kind of like the also the bootstrap path, but also the kind of like the building public. Um, so I like getting back to the story. I got my first couple of users. I built a product. I got to a place where I'm saying, okay, for a certain subset of users, like this, the product is fantastic. Like it does a better job than the rest of the competitors, than the Lavables and Bolts and Replits and of the world. I feel like it's really good. I have no idea how to market that. And I was doing this like this time. I decided to go on my own, to go solo bootstrapped, and then um, I was like like hanging out with a friend, also a fellow founder, and I was like, how do I market this? I feel like I have a great product. What do I need to do? And I tried a bunch of things. All of them failed. I tried paying to influencers to post about the product, a bit like a couple of thousands of bucks. I tried doing some like paid campaigns. It sucked. I didn't know how to do that. Like I'm a product person. And then so my friend, I hang out with them and then they're saying, you know what? Like it's really cool that you're building this on your own. I feel like it's gonna resonate with your audience if you're gonna like build it in public and tell about your story doing that. And Adam, he gave you as an example, kind of like the content that you guys are putting out there as like RB2B, on just building in public, sharing the struggles. And I think it really resonated well with the base 44 audience because one, my audience and still kind of like the early adopters are those for base 44s, like those indie hackers, like solopreneurs that are trying to build their business and they're building it on top of base 44. Like they're building some SaaS product for a niche market. Those were my early users and still some of my most powerful users. And so telling the story of like how I'm building the business and sharing like genuine content that's not that like not BSing, like telling about the struggles, the challenges, like how I'm trying to crack go to market is one thing that worked really, really well. And I wish I've done this sooner before kind of like, and it sounds funny because everything happened like such a short time frame. But I feel like if I would have started this sooner, then I would have seen this virality loop starting sooner. And this was like really, I remember the first LinkedIn post that caught some traffic that from there like things became better. And then one thing that I did, I think, well, I tried a bunch of things. A lot of things didn't work. So like sometimes like you look at those stories and you feel like, hey, it's been such a smooth experience. No, I tried a bunch of things. Most of them failed. One thing that worked really well is keep investing in the virality of the product. And so one good example is I've noticed people really like to share what they've built on Base 44. And so I started seeing like some posts, hey, look at what I built in 5 minutes, or see what I built for my team in my company, or hey, I like me and my kid, we built some tool to help him with them with their homework and so on. And so I had this built-in mechanism saying, hey, if you share your app online, even like you don't need to say anything about like how great Base 44 is, like just share your app and just like how you build it. I'm going to give you credits to keep on building. And so this is also one thing that really worked. And I think the more that I invested in like a virality inside a product, it helped because like I don't know. For me, it's like marketing is not uh, the way it was like a couple of years ago. And there was like so much noise, there's so much content, and there's so much like ads, and like really hard to crack that, especially if you're bootstrap, especially if you're like solo and you're low on resources. And two things that are really nice moats outside of like the product that you're building is one like your personal brand, or like the content you're able to, like the audience that you're able to attract as like a single person, like as a and the second like virality of your product. If you're able to get that right, then a lot of things is just fueling fuel because you know that like now you're able to. So for example, now once I've been acquired by Wix, so we're starting to invest in paid acquisition, right? So now we know that like every user that we bring in is also like three other users that they're going to share it with. And I think those two things, like building in public and investing a whole lot in virality, has been like tremendously helpful.
Yeah, that's probably, there are some people that I would not recommend building in public for, but like I think is the case of most startups tends to be like you've had this problem that you've wanted to solve for a long time. Usually it's your own, which makes you usually your ICP, in which case the weight of your words is just so tremendous with them, right? Like, as and look, your build in public may not get the same traction my build in public gets. I started when I was at 20 million in revenue as a bootstrapper, and I've been working at content and getting better at it for 2 years, right? You're not going to get 500 likes in every post. However, you will get some audience and you will get better at the craft, and the value of that body of work as time goes on becomes immense, right? Like if you chronicled every single day of this 6-month experience, I don't know whether you did or didn't. I personally, if you told me you did and you sent a link, I would go tonight, read every single one of those posts, right? Like,
Yeah,
just because I want to see how you did that. So does everybody
yeah,
else on this call. That's why they're here, right? So that's why I advocate if there's even sort of an alignment, it's like find your platform or whatever. LinkedIn was mine, like, other people do it on TikTok
yeah.
or whatever, but like just starting and continuing that whole body of work has like a compounding effect too, you know.
I 100% agree. It won't work for every product, right? Like for our B2B is like people trying to create go to market, and so the content really resonates well, and so and then they're saying, oh, this is also a cool product, like I should use that. And the same goes for like base 44 is like people like were trying to build their businesses and apps and saying, oh, there's a platform that builds businesses and apps and helps you do that. So I don't know if it would have worked the same way if I was like building again a product for lawyers or accountants and so on. I'm not sure that the same audience would. But if you're able to find a sweet spot where you put content out there, you share your story, a genuine story, genuine content, like valuable content, then you get this compounding effect that I agree it's super valuable.
Yeah, it's like what else do you have in the beginning? That's my other thing about it. It's
Nothing.
like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
best way to market yourself as I just started this yesterday is here's my story, right?
yeah,
Like here's me, like, because just the startup is the classic hero's journey. Everything is working against you. In the beginning, you're fucking taking a leap off of the cliff with no rope, and you're probably going to fail, but you might succeed, and you're going to tell everybody, right? Like, what's a better story than that for an entrepreneur? There isn't one, right? Like,
and And oddly enough, it's like when you're starting out and like you're small, there's like so many disadvantages versus being huge. There's like, but then this is one thing that's like when you start out, this is like the moment where like you can share your story. It's the most genuine, it's the most valuable. It's like now I'm starting to think, okay, I'm becoming a big company. How do I find angles of content that are still interesting? Well, it's not as interesting as like, hey, I'm fighting along against like those big competitors and like this huge market. I'm trying to find my way. So I feel like yeah, sharing your story is one of like those things where it's actually an advantage when you start
well,
out.
yeah, you can say stuff that they can't. That's just it, right? You
Yeah,
can create content that the larger incumbents simply cannot create by their internal policies, you know?
I 100%
Um,
agree.
I,
yeah, I'm
I
glad we hit on that.
I also have an observation on your content. I think there's a content pillar that's really working for you that I think a lot of people try and it doesn't work for them for a few reasons. And that pillar that I noticed of yours is you post a lot of updates about the improvements of base 44. A lot of people do that about their product, but it doesn't work for them. I think the reason it works for you, and this is a hypothesis, you sort of cemented yourself as like, I'm the AI guy. I'm the guy who's so on top of all these models. And there is nothing more intriguing in the tech world right now than the advancement of AI models. Like
Yeah,
everyone's intrigued by that. And you're building one. And you can be like, hey, here's the new things you can do with my app that's already blown your mind. And people are already aware at the speed at which these things changed. So when you post something, I'm like, well, I've got to watch the whole thing. Like, I need to see what these new capabilities are, because it's like your imagination isn't going to get you there. Like sometimes you stumble across these amazing things that these models can do, but you're out there doing it. And one other just observation that we also noticed at our B2B, your user generated content on LinkedIn, it's based around people showing how capable they are and amazing things they're able to do, and getting people to post about their capabilities that makes them look good. Those are all of the user generated content motions that I've seen work. That people, I mean, LinkedIn's almost all about showing how capable you are, or sharing a story about what you're trying to do and all the roadblocks.
I agree with that so much. I told you guys about like we had these features like you share like your app, then you get credits. And so the first thing is like first thing we tried, like featuring and tried is like, hey, share your app and also like say how awesome Base 44 has been in this process. And then when we dropped that, like, and then I only like said, hey, just share what you're building. Like tell how awesome like the thing that you just built and tell how awesome you are. The fact that you were able to in like 30 minutes build you a tool that saved your company X tons of money, whatever. I think, yeah, empowering eventually the users to like put content that they're proud of, I think is a really, it's a good take.
So I have a question here. So I want to talk about this first hire. First of all, it's insane that you went like almost 80% of the way on your path towards exit. You're probably like, I don't even know. You might have even been talking to Wix by the time you hired this person. What was the signal though that made you hire them? What was their role? Yeah.
One I think like so there's like the first hire and then the next five, because when we were acquired we were like six. They were all like joined in the same month or two, month and a half. Um, First hire was just an awesome guy that I've worked with for plenty of years. That at some point Base 44 became really profitable. I think he posted about this. I think the month before being acquired, we did like 200K in profit. Um, and then I said, okay, it's time to extend the team. I was really like, I'm really all in for like super small teams for like with like a lot of context that can move fast. I feel like it's like nowadays it's when you have AI to your side, it's like it's not about how many people you throw at a problem that can write code faster or can write content better. It's like get this handful of people that you adore, you absolutely adore, that can like do things and you trust them and can move fast. And it's not anymore about like the number of people. So the first hire was just like a guy that I've worked with for a lot of years. He was my product guy in my previous company. He's an all-around guy who can do both product growth, can do like some coding, at least to like analyze data and so on. And I felt like I need an extension to myself and someone that thinks differently. Because also like one of the challenges when building alone is like you have nobody to bounce ideas against, and it's hard to like take a step back and saying, are we like doing this right or not? Um, and so this was the guy, and I knew like I can let him like run and push things that I cannot do, or I don't have this type of attention and skill set. It's like the all those things that people keep constantly speaking about, like the zone of genius, like where you're good at and where like the where you're actually good at and what's the most fun for you to do. And the rest of the team is like just gearing up towards knowing that we're going to scale, knowing that either way, like either the acquisition is going to happen or like we became profitable, so we can start investing in scaling further and further, and bringing a really good team, a really good technical team to move forward.
And how long was that acquisition process? Like, it couldn't have been longer than 6 months, right?
Pretty quick. Also because like Base 44 was like it's like a vanilla business, right? You just if you like get access to Stripe, like you can see everything. It's like it's really easy to see like we
Yeah.
had like really good growth trajectory and like You can see the revenues grow, and it's a really simple business. Like in terms of like you understand, kind of like there's no, hey, like show me all your contracts, and then hey, this contract is like for 2 years, but then those churn, what will churn, and so on. Like it's really simple and easy. I don't know. I think since was pretty quick. Like Avishai is like the CEO of Wix, and we spent a couple of nights just discussing the future of Base 44. We both agreed like the best thing that we can do for Base 44 and its community to grow the fastest is like this market moves extremely fast. I felt like I don't have the time to organically go into that, and Wix like the best partner we could have hoped for. I don't know if you guys know Wix, but like the same, it's like almost the same users, it's the same mindsets, the same DNA, customer obsession, and so on. So like the idea, like the concept of partnering up together felt naturally, and then the whole due diligence and so on took I think 2 to 3 weeks. So it was pretty fast.
Incredible. How'd you come up with that price? Had to ask.
I think just like any other negotiation, like you start small, then it's great if you have other options,
Yeah.
which we to some degree had. And then we structure the deal in a way that's like there's the initial payment, which was publicized, and then there's like a lot of incentive for me and the team to build this to be a monster, which like future payments based on performance and pace of like Base 44's revenues. And so it was a no-brainer because we felt like because there was like no VC capital involved, we can structure a deal that's like a win-win. That we can still like the team and I can still feel ownership and enjoy the upside of scaling Base 44 and also Wix. Yeah, it's been like it's like very like when you look at it from the side, it's like it's a crazy process to run because like you're speaking about like millions of dollars and so on. But all in all, I feel like there's the right chemistry. We know what we want to build together. So it's you go into multiple iterations and you finalize on a number.
Man, that is awesome. Thank you for doing all of this because you're an inspiration to me. You're an inspiration to Pete. I'm sure you're an inspiration to every single person who sat here and watched this. Dude, thanks for joining us. I know it's like really late in Israel and you kind of bent over backwards to accommodate our American time zone. Thank you so much. And it's hard to imagine that you wouldn't look back on these 6 months and think it was like the most amazing ride you've ever been on, but something tells me there's bigger things to come.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you for
Cheers
having
to
me.
that.
It's so much fun, really, guys.
Thank you so much for coming on, man. Next week,
Awesome.
yeah, folks, next week we got Anthony Pieri, co-founder of Fletch. He's going to talk about B2B homepage positioning, all things messaging, and my gosh, we're going to show him your homepage. You're going to be the first one that we bring up and be like, hey, look at this thing.
He's going to be like, there's nothing I would change about this. then I'm going to have him rip mine apart.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. And by the way, Pete, should we have people email producer@rbdb.com if they want their homepage torn down?
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll just do yeah, let's do that. Folks, audience, if you want to either be a part of the pitch slap or a part of the UnFck My Startup section, submit just email me your URL or say you want to do the pitch slap. Producer@rbdb.com. We just dropped it in. We will see you at the same time next week, folks. Thank you all for listening. And Maor, thank you, my friend.
Man, this was an awesome show.